everybody, it's Romania Black, and it feels weird being here. We're on episodes 36 and 37 together for Word of Honor, and I started this show back in February. So I've nearly had a Word of Honor baby by the time we finish this, along with taking a week break and then watching the extras, which Be Happy has told me is going to take me 2 weeks to get through. So, so there's that. So yeah, so just to give you a heads up of what we're doing, we are going to be watching episodes 36 and 37 today. As this is coming out on Patreon, if you're a patron, there will also be a poll to see if you want me to read the novel and do reactions to those, or if you want me to just read it on my own time. I have a feeling most people are going to vote for me to react to the novel, but I just want to know, just to see if people are going to be sticking around to watch me go through the novel or not. That's what I want to kind of gauge as far as Patreon goes. So please vote this week if you're on Patreon. If you're on YouTube, it's $1 to vote, and then you get access to the Discord, and we can talk about the show and all the fun stuff that comes with it. But in that regard, I am taking a week off next week. I've already got a previous Don Mai related entry that's going to be on the channel that's related to Heaven Official's Blessing. It's going to be coming back. We got an audio drama episode that's going to come next week and drop during this time slot to give your girl a break. I'm going to be on vacation as this character from this show would do. And then afterwards, Be Happy has been gathering me a plethora of links of this concert to watch. They've told me it's going to take 2 different sittings to get through everything. And I'm like, okay. So the rest of October after that, we'll be getting through all of the extras. And by that time, I'll know if I'm starting the novel and all that good stuff. So y'all know how that goes. But I'm pretty excited. It just feels weird that after 8 months, nearly 9 months, I'm at the end of the live action. It feels so bizarre. Crazy, right? So I've got comments that we need to talk about related to these episodes, specifically episodes 32 through 35, before we dive into this final reaction. And then episode 36 is 42 minutes, and then episode 37 is like 12 minutes long. So an hour's worth of Word of Honor. Yay. I'm so excited. But I always dread, even though I am going to read the novel. So like, I'm not sad that it's ending, but I dread the ending of a really good series, because it's just like, you don't want to close the book. You want to keep reading, right? And that's what fan fiction's for, apparently. So we'll see. But I've got my coffee poured. Let's get through these comments, shall we? Tony Simi had some comments. But for episode 32, they said, this episode 32, gave me the Yay by Yi and Jair crack ship. I want both of them to be happy, so now they need to get together. This was mentioned in the Discord. I don't know if I've talked about this in other intros. I did not clock the Yay by Yi Scorpion King crack ship, but apparently this episode started a lot of people shipping them. It did not register, and I think the reason why it didn't register is because Yay by Yi is like freaking Yoda, and Scorpion King is like Han Solo from Star Wars. So it's essentially Han Solo and Yoda crack ship, which there have been weirder crack ships. So, but I guess because Yay by Yi is so much older and kind of already has like an unrequited thing off screen with another person, and Jair sitting there and Zhao Jing's like in front of my salad, and it's like, yes, in front of your salad. So I had never considered it, but you know what? All ships are valid. We might not board all ships, but they are all worthy of construction. So I see the vision. Honestly, if Jair's into older men, Yay by Yi is a lot better choice than Zhao Jing. So just saying, if things don't work out with whatever his plans are in the next episode we're about to watch, then, maybe need to go after Yay by Yi. We'll see. Who knows? Pines 841 for episode 33 says, I don't know if you notice about Zishu's sword. When Zishu uses it, it bends easily and is very flexible. But when Keshing uses it, like in this entire scene in episode 33, the sword is not bending and looks stiff. I did notice that, and I didn't know why that was. And so I'm like, maybe it was the budget. I didn't know. But then they say, Jaehan, who is the actor for Jojishu, joked that usually Zishu's sword was soft, but when it's in Keshing's hand, it becomes hard. Zayon, you naughty boy. This actor playing Jojishu, No, but that is really hilarious. I honestly, if you told me in the novel that the sword is bendy until it gets in Winkeshing's hand and then it becomes hard, I know how you Don my writers like to treat swords. MXTX, I'm looking at you, Sweet Bean. I know how that song and dance goes. So that's honestly hilarious. Okay. Then we have Kim the Mindful Narwhal. Kim the Mindful Narwhal, love it. 5151 for episode 34 says, I thought it was interesting that the Scorpion King paralyzed Zhao Jing, since that's basically what a scorpion does when provoked. Love it. Love it. Taking it. Yes. Love that tie-in. That's really cool. I hadn't thought about that, but that's a lot of fun. So Read the Best for episode 34 says there's no official translation of the novel, which is probably why people haven't talked about it in the comments. I kind of remember Plore, who's one of the moderators, saying that there was an official translation, but they gave me a link to a fan translation, which is what I would be reading if I do the reactions. I also want to watch you read the prequel novel. I know that you were talking about not reading it, but at least read the title before you decide. So I asked the moderator's like, do you want to know the title of the prequel? Because a lot of people were talking about it. I said, yeah. So the title of the prequel is called Lord Seventh, which I was like, okay, so it's going to be about Zhou Jishu and the Lord Seventh and their meeting and all this, and possibly about Lord Seventh and the great shaman getting together, which, not going to lie, sounds hella intriguing for many reasons. But here's the thing. I'm not going to immediately dive into the prequel novels. I'm not immediately going to dive into it. I'll put it on the poll to replace this series. I'll keep it on the poll if it doesn't win until I do read it. But I do want to give the chance to put other series, because it was a really close poll, if I remember correctly, back when Word of Honor won. And Word of Honor had been on the poll several times, but there were a lot of other really good series I'm excited about that were really close on the polls. So I want to give them a shot as well. So I'm not immediately going to go into the prequel, even though I am a completionist. I do want to eventually read it, but I'm going to give Patreon the chance to decide that. So, and if it doesn't win the poll that replaces Word of Honor, I'll keep it on there, until I get to it. So that'll be fine. But anyway, thank you. Then they said, if you go back to the cliff scene in episode 34, there's a moment where Wing Keshing and Zhou Jishu are standing side by side facing the other guys, or I guess this would be in episode 32. Zhou Jishu points his sword at them, and Wing Keshing taps his chest where Chengling fires the needle before coming to stand behind Zhou Jishu. It's a blink and you'll miss it sort of thing that you could brush off as him just adjusting his fan, but I think it was his way of telling Chengling to go along with the plan. And that's where we're going to talk about this in a little bit. We're going to talk about this, but that's crazy. I did not notice that during that scene, but that's crazy that was there to tell Chengling to go along with everything, which is crazy. Pines841 for episode 34 also says, about episode 32's extended scene, there's been some criticism that says it looks like Zhou Jishu has 9 nipples, and I can't unsee it now, and neither can I. What kind of Omegaverse business is this? So yeah, that's now you cannot unsee it either, but they do look kind of like nipples. Just saying. Hey, the budget, what can we do? What can we do? Diana Williams for episode 35 says, we did see the 5th piece when the Scorpion King was showing off the key and the pieces he had, the one from the prince and the one he'd been holding from the start. Yeah, I think in the discussion I figured that out, but I don't remember if we talked about it enough, but yes, so he has all 5 pieces. So Scorpion King has the key. He's got every reason to go in and do that. So I guess we'll find out this episode if that's going to happen or not. We'll just have to see. And then Katie Abbott, 970 for episode 34, says, starting off where everyone was assembled around the table, we found out how Wing Keshing went to visit Shinshin, Chengling, and Ye Bai, all without poor Zhou Jishu's knowledge. I felt so sorry for Zhou Jishu in that moment as he sat there listening to the conversation unfolding, and what he must have thought was betrayal by the one man he trusted the most, keeping all of that a secret from him. And we're going to talk about that in a hot second. But they also said the Scorpion King has an exquisite speaking voice, which comes as no surprise as he started out as a voice actor, which I totally can see. Yeah, I talked about it back in episode 34 and episode 35. I think that's been the one moment. And then episode 35, obviously, because of the budget, we cut out like where Zhou Jishu was. But all I could think about was, because the only ones I've read so far are MXTX versus this, and MXTX, their 3 stories are very different, but in 2 of MXTX's stories, in Modao Zushi and Heaven Official's Blessing, I could never imagine the main lead love character, after professing such love to their significant other and going the lengths that when Keshing is gone for Jojishu, for example, and vice versa. In MXTX's stories, I cannot imagine that character suddenly being like, oh yeah, and also we did all this behind your back because, you know, I didn't trust that you'd react well to it. And it's like, what? Now, one of MXTX's stories, I could totally see this happening, but their dynamic is not anywhere near what Jojishu and Winkeshing's is. So that's why it was so weird, because I'm used to MXTX, even when a character is doing things behind the scenes where the significant other doesn't know about it, it is not something that would directly harm that significant other. Or if you know they've had moments where they've been contemplating ending their life, that you would put them through that. So it was just the lack of thing. Like, I get last episode when Keshing leaves Jojishu behind because Guzhong's been killed. He is like on high alert, emotions heavy, craziness. But the fact that he premeditated that entire stuff with episode 32 through 34 and didn't tell Jojishu because he couldn't trust him? What? Why? That makes no sense. That's like one plot hole of the series that I'm just like, you just needed Jojishu to be at the end of his rope, and this is the narrative choice you made. So I try to view sometimes series as just a passive watcher, but the English teacher in me, the writer in me comes out, and I'm like, but why'd you make that choice? So I guess that's where I'm coming from. And maybe in the novel, it'll be more explained and there'll be more reason to it. But it was just the way they cut it in episode 32, 33, and 34 was just weird. Then Rose Jennison says, admittedly, episode 35 doesn't hit me as hard as it could have. But, oh my gosh, this broke my heart, Rose. The reason for that is at some point, I remember the reason I fell off watching Word of Honor was I got a spoiler that Guzhong and Sao Weining died during their own wedding, and the thought of that made me too sad to continue. I don't blame you. I would have been just like, welp, cool, thanks. I held out hope that maybe I misunderstood something and maybe this wouldn't have actually happened, but then it did. I'm just glad that you showed us the commercial. Thank Be Happy for that one. Be Happy is responsible for that. As far as I'm concerned, that basically confirms they do meet and have a happy ending in another life, and that helps a lot. No joke, I was so mad. Episode 35, I was so mad. And so that commercial that Be Happy found made things a lot better, but I totally related to Rose in this because that's why I'm so against spoilers, because spoilers just deflate you, especially if you're a reactor that's, you know, it's exciting to sit down here and talk with you all about shows and get hyped up, and the moment there's a spoiler, you're like, I guess we don't have to talk about that anymore, because what are you going to say? Like, oh yeah, so this happened. So I totally relate to that. That is so sad, but the commercial did help. It helped us heal. So then Be Happy says for episode 35, something I want to talk about. The Scorpion King gave the alluring ghost the antidote and told her to get the hell out with Fang. But she wanted to test him and thus went back to the Ghost Valley. Scorpion King had no way to know that she chose to go to a place that was about to be sealed because in his eyes, he handed her freedom to be human once again. I get that, yes. Do I think, though? I mean, here's the thing, and this is basically talking about Scorpion King as a character. It makes sense the Scorpion King would be like, look, here's the antidote. Now you and your boo can go run off together. But I'm also like, it shows in some way how kind of narrow-minded the Scorpion King was, because we know as the audience that the alluring ghost, Yu Chofeng, was not the only person she cared about. She really cared about the tragicomic ghost. Like, if he'd been paying attention to her truly and been watching, he would have seen that she wasn't going to leave the tragicomic ghost behind, even if she did like somebody. But the Scorpion King, if Zhao Jing told him to like run off today and it was just going to be them, he'd leave behind the assassins. I think he would. So I think that that's interesting because it shows like where both of those characters are and their mindset in all of this. So I think that's interesting. But it makes sense for the episode why he didn't expect her to be back in the Ghost Valley. But all of us are like, you do know she has a thing with the tragicomic ghost, right? Whether you want to view it as Yuri or motherly or sisterly or whatever. I'm like, really? Really? Oh, was it Violet Chachki from Drag Race? She's like, really, bitch? So, yeah, but what can we do? What can we do? I've talked for 15 minutes. about these comments. Thank you all so much for chiming in, for your kind words, for watching this series with me, for seeing in week to week with what happens. I'm excited to finish it, and then I'm super excited for the extras to see what they're all about. And then if we read the novel, I'm going to be super hyped. I'm very tentative because I have no clue how the poll is going to go, so we'll just see. But by the time we have the extras recorded, I should know what's going on, so I'll be able to tell you all then. So we'll plan on that. But I've talked enough. Something that I am genuinely excited about is the fact that I can watch the OP and ED now. I can actually watch the OP and ED, which is crazy. But I went back and searched through my Discord chats with the mods, and way back in May, like around the time of episode 19, Be Happy was like, yeah, you can't watch the OP and ED until after episode 35. Well, we are past episode 35. So, so what I'm going to do is for this episode, we're going to start it off actually at the OP this time, watch it all the way through. I'm not going to watch the ED for episode 36, but then we'll watch it for episode 37. And if there is no ED for episode 37, then we'll go back. We'll make it work. And I'll probably skip the OP in episode 37. So we'll make it work. I'll edit it. But yeah, that's exciting. So we are going to start the finale of Word of Honor. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's see what all was in this OP. I mean, well, how spoilery are we going to get? I mean, okay, we start out there. Man, how far we've come. How far we've come. That's really far into the story. So is that. So many spoilers. Oh, damn, that was late. Yeah. Wow. I guess if you didn't know the context, you might say they're not spoilers, but you would have known when Keshing was the ghost chief pretty early on from watching this. Them showing us all these Guzhong and Sao Weining images is heartbreaking. Someone else pointed out that in Donmai, oh, that's a really good shot, yeah! That a lot of side characters die, and I was like, I almost didn't treat Guzhong and Sao Weining like side characters. I treated them and Changling like main characters. Man, lots of table flipping. Wow, that's like at the end. The Wen Keshing versus Zhao Jing, you showed that in the OP show. I would have been anticipating every single second. Damn, okay. What we gonna get now? Oh. Sup, fish? Could go bobbing for koi. Don't be so quick to judge, Changling. Uh-huh. Yeah, you can't just... Yeah, there'd be a big chain reaction. Uh-huh, it will lead to chaos. He's like, Changling, you just gotta do a slow torturing. Don't you know? Have you learned nothing from us? Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yeah. You gotta needle it. Well, at least he says he's stupid. I hate to say it because he's in morning robes, but Xiao Jishu looks really good in black. Don't be saying that. You know better. You know better. Ugh. There, now do you get Changling? Also, where'd they get this fish pond in the middle of that room? It's really cool. I want it. I don't want it because then I don't want to take care of the fish. And of course... Oh. Are they going to try to use the book on each other? Come on now. With the thing with the robe. Poor Changling. Oh. 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 I don't want to see Changling cry. I want you to give him a hug. Will you give him a hug? Oh. I feel like we come full circle. Damn it. Stop. You only get a 30-second hug, Changling. Oh. Grey Shaman's like, we're going back home after this, right? We're not staying, right? Ah. Oh, they're related. Oh. So he doesn't want the Yin Yang book. Uh-huh. Damn. I can see why there was a prequel book made. When are we getting this MacGuffin in the 12th hour? Faraway Wanderers. What? Why are we getting 6 keys, 6 clan leaders now in the last episode? It does sound exactly like it. Oh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Huh. So... This exposition in the last hour is insane to me. Why we're just getting this. So... Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. So... What? When did that happen? Has this been here the whole time? Has this always been there? I don't remember the Dragon Pool cabinet saying about the vault, but I could have forgotten. I don't remember that, but I could have forgotten. So, who is that? Who be this? Oh. Hmm. Oh. Oh, Changling. Quit! Great Shaman's like, well, we're fine either way. Take our horse that needs its bangs cut the most. Great Shaman's like, we're only sticking around this kid for a little bit, right? And then we're going back home. Oh. Because he's going to lie and tell that to Winkeshing. Yeah. You know that's not going to work! Shit, that's so sad! That's so sad! Why y'all lying to each other? Why y'all lying to each other? Did you think that, remember when Keshing lied to you and it really didn't feel good and then it turned out you didn't need to be lied to because it all worked out in the end? Maybe you shouldn't lie to Winkeshing right back. Shut the frick up. Shut the frick up. Communication! Quit crying, Changling! I don't want to see you cry! Meanwhile, in Antarctica, the Ghost Valley is like, this is shit. We were supposed to be trapped in the Ghost Valley, not headed to the North Pole. Oh no, these are Prince Jin's troops. Never mind. I thought they were the Ghost Valley warriors for a second. I also thought those were chains, but it's just their swords are... Who's getting carried through the tundra? Oh, is that... Oh my god! Xiaoxing has his own little carriage! With the boots with the fur! Scorpion King's like, you will lead my horse because I am too diva to do it myself. That's insane. They brought Xiaoxing to this place. They brought Xiaoxing. I mean, I know why he brought him. He wants to show him, but... They brought him to Narnia? This feels very Don Mai MXTS-esque. The cave with the ice and everything. This feels very familiar. Okay, so Prince Jin, right? And Scorpion King? Oh no, it's Pengju. God, if there's one thing that's amazing, the Scorpion King's fringe is just so on point. I love it. Is this gonna be like a Cave of Wonders moment? He's like, I don't want. He's like, no. Oh. Isn't the armory full of traps and stuff, though? Because it's with the Dragon Pool cabinet? It's gonna like shoot him full of arrows as soon as he puts that in. My dude. My dude. Yeah, there's the fifth piece. Looking all Beyblade-esque. It's gonna like shoot him full of darts as soon as he puts it in. Did you need a Phillips screwdriver to to get this vault open? If we just had a Phillips screwdriver, we would have had this. I guess that's for the key. Again, Phillips screwdriver could have got it all set. I just don't feel like it's magically going to open with nothing happening, and there's a reason Scorpion King made him do it first. Seek me out. A diamond in the rough. Oh! Scorpion King's like, get out of my way! Oh! Oh, well! Just in time with the fake key! No, wait a minute! Jojishu, the fake key! Did Winkeshing plan for this? Oh, shit! Oh! Oh! Or he'll just die right now! Okay! Oh, bitch! Oh, bitch! Oh! Yeah! Yeah, him! Scorpion King's like, well, you saved me the trouble! Who else, bitch? Well, no, he's not. Oh. In a coma. Oh. I did not anticipate the showdown between these two. Nope. Oh, what's this? Why is there an avalanche? Xiaoxing's like, ah, shit. She's like, I'll just die here in this snow, I guess. Why aren't you moving? Why aren't you moving? Sweetheart! Why? Why are you welcoming death so easy? Oh my god! Oh! Oh! What? When could you do that? When could you do that? When have you been good at darts? Defying the laws of physics, that throw is. Just get inside the damn cave. Get inside the damn cave. Oh. Oh no! Xiaoxing! I mean, I like that look on Winkeshing, but... Right. I mean, they did stand out like sore thumbs. They were in all black. It would be easy to see them. Hmm. I mean, it was always with him. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And it was always with him. It was always on his head. That makes sense. You stupid bastard! Oh, bunch of idiots! Get up! What do you know? Shut your face! Yay by ye! Yay by ye! I love him! Yeah. You two bakas. Basically, you two bakas. I do like the robes. They look very different on him. So what does one do with this? I feel like with the wooden doors, it looks like a hoedown is going to go inside. Or this. Or this. This feels like Dragon Pool cabinet. Huh. Ah. That's smart. Saint Joe! Hmm. Oh. Oh. Right? Oh. Yeah, exactly. You gotta have the will. Where there's a will, there's a way. Ah. Sounds like rats or something. Hmm. He's like, I'm gonna light this fire. You can't stop me. What does it say? Like, just like that? Or on the ground? Oh. Huh. Ha! I mean, possibly. That is a good question of how they're gonna get out of there. And Jojishu believes that he's gonna die before they do, so. Interesting. So is this a training room then, or? Huh. Oh, because it's an armory, so there's all these lost arts and methods and things. It looks a more homely than I imagined, but that could be the budget. But it also looks like it's been lived in. What is that? It's about farming. Or was it something else? Oh, interesting. Why gather up all of these? What'd they do with the yin yang book? Did they put it back? Has it been raided? Or is this not the real armory? It's just like a fake one before you get to the real armory. Like a secret within a secret? Huh. That looks suspicious. That box looks super suspicious. I wouldn't just reach out and touch it. Or don't press the button. Don't just grab it. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a trap, right? The way they're shooting it, it makes like it look like he's gonna get like impaled at any second. I mean, at least you're not gonna go hungry. Was corn the gold? Pure cocaine. Huh. Oh. Oh. Did you get did the word of mouth get it wrong and all that was left was Farmville tools? Oh my gosh, that's insane. Wow. Learned a lesson today. Oh. That all makes sense. He's been here and saw it. Oh, and then when he was like, It's a shit way to kill somebody over just finding out there was grain in there. It's not his fault. Huh. Well, that's all. But what about the Yin Yang book? What about. Yeah. It was originally an empty armory. But how's that going to help Jojishu? Hmm. Ha! That's a good point. That's a good point. Huh. That makes sense, yeah. Because he hadn't ate that food in 100 years. Oh. Oh. That makes sense. But there are cons. Hmm. Huh. There we go. So you guys should just stay in the ice mountains and just become little ice gods together, and then you guys can live happily ever after. Yes. Oh. Yep. Because he was done with it. Oh. Yeah. He's like, you could have a lot of sex in a cave eating ice and snow. Okay. Oh. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, we're just gonna cultivate together? Oh. 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 Oh shit. Oh, well that's cool. Okay. You guys are willing to go through that for each other? Oh my gosh. I always view cultivating together as a euphemism for sex, so don't worry. We'll hold each other through it. Oh man, they got to connect hands. Shut the frick up. There is something insanely romantic about the idea that they were going to suffer together and be there to support each other through their pain and through basically recreating the meridians. Shut up. I. They're like, well, we could both become immortal together, but then we have to stay in this icy palace forever. Is that okay? Thank God Ye Bai Yi showed up. What was that? they both singing this? He can't hear. Oh, the song getting quieter. Oh. Oh, did he lie? Oh! 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 Is he giving him his life force? Oh my god! Oh! Oh! In exchange, right? Oh, bitch! He's like, oh god, you're still saying his name. You love him or something like that. Bitch, he took the nails out. Oh! No! No! Good answer. He's like, okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. But you know when you know she's gonna be so sad if you leave him behind. I don't want Winkeshing to die for real. Shut up. Oh. Why did you show us the stupid rabbit hunting? Stop it. How are they gonna travel the world with your soulmate, you son of a bitch? No, don't die. Oh. Oh. I thought earlier on he was going to sacrifice himself for Jojishu, but then when they had this whole scenario, I was like, oh, they'll be fine, and now it's all come back. I mean, Gongjun can pull off the white hair. Not many can do that. Oh. I don't want Winkeshing to die, though. What's the point of him being alive? That's like one of the big themes of the story. Quit doing this sacrificial cycle, you bitches! No! He's like, joke's on you, I'm gonna give it right back. How could he have aged so much and still had flawless skin? Hold on to them damn hands! Oh! Holy shit, that was... Yeah. Oh. Oh. Is this supposed to be Changling? Is that who this is supposed to be? Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh, no, wait, no, it's not. Uh, it is Changling. Oh. Oh. And he has a little daughter. She's so cute. Nyongjeong. Oh my god. Oh. So she did not end up with the one guy. She ended up with Changling. Okay. No, we have to go. We have to go to the next. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will most definitely. I. We have to go to the next one. I'm sorry. We have to go to the next one. To find out what happens next. We have to go back to that. Now I have been told that there is some recap with this one at the beginning, but that's okay. We're fine with that. We're gonna start that here in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we might have to go back and rewatch the ED, but so Changling got with Xiaolian. They had a little girl. She's adorable. But what about the two men stuck in the mountain? You can't tell me that Zhou Jishu like stayed with a corpse of Wen Keshing for years. You can't tell me that did not happen. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. No freaking way. I think they could have found a better actor to play older Changling because it's still Changling's voice, but the guy that they had to play the older version of him does not really... I thought he was somebody else because he doesn't look like him. But their daughter's adorable. Ugh. They're like, here's all these amazing things with these two. And they're soulmates. How? I mean, the poetry of Wen Keshing giving his life to save Zhou Jishu. Would we have expected him to do anything else? No. Damn. Deus Ex Avalanche. Okay, but this is basically the epilogue. What a time that was. Remember that? Remember that? Remember the face crack of the millennium? Remember that? I do. Of all things to show us the slow-mo blood. I mean, necessary, but... Ah! And then the two white flowers. You bitches had better tell us what happened to them at the end. Zhou Jishu looks the best in like that dark, rich blue. So poor Changling was left to the Four Seasons to recreate it all by his lonesome. Probably with Shin Shin's help and with Xiao Lian, but oh my god. Great Shaman and Lord Seventh are like, peace. And he gave the key to him. Oh my god. I do love the idea of the ghosts coming to the light. Oh, that edit was really good. That was a good edit. Okay, come on now. Come on. You best be giving us this epilogue. We're 5 minutes in. Yeah. When did this be? Is this a megaverse? What's happening? How did you have a child? Or did Jojishi regress into a child? Oh. Huh? Huh? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And they're two styles. Ah! Tell me how! Also the bangs. Living for the bangs. Living. Quit making out in front of me, I wish is what I was saying right now. He's like, are you going to train me? Or, oh. Those are a bunch of gay men, son. The dad's like, they do this all the time, son. No. No, sir. Shut up. He's like, I don't quite understand, but okay. He's like, these gay gods. I have so much I want to say. These gay sky dancers. Oh, 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 oh. But how? Is that it? Oh! Okay, is this the ED? Justice for Sao Wei Ning, justice for Gu Zhong. I guess this is ED. idea of a beggar and a ghost chief becoming two deities that are just locked in gay sex until the end of time. I saw the dad's like, let's go home. Go home from where? You're on an avalanche mountain. Oh. We're going to go back and look at the Edie just as comparison. Oh. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh, I love that scene with all the funeral paper. Oh my God. Man, remember that? That feels like forever ago. That feels like forever. Oh. Was the white flute a sign that he was one day going to transcend the mortal coil? I do love, yeah. Oh, no, you guys didn't. Shut up. Ugh. Yes. Ugh. They did! In a Cadillac commercial, they did! Wow, okay. Ah! Ah! Oh! Okay, I'm gonna go back to the last episode and I'm going to go back and see the ED with you all because I did not get a chance to do that. And it would not feel right unless we saw the ED. So please humor me as we go back to the very end. Yeah, the very end. Oh, yeah, they could have found a better actor for older Changling. But the daughter's adorable, so I'm not going to complain. Yeah, let's see this ending. Since we can finally see it. Aww. I'm so floored, honestly, by the ending. I'm not mad at it. I'm just kind of floored about a couple things, which we're going to talk about in the discussion, especially with, ideas about what could have been expanded upon. But now, when Keshing in the light with the white robes, like Yay by E, kind of all came full circle. Mm. And we're going to talk about Ye Bai Ye and all this too. Oh, these selfish people all suffering their selfish fates. We're going to talk about Prince Jin and all this, but. And then the soulmates coming back with him and Zhou Jishu. I just love the Great Shaman and Lord Seventh were like, what a trip. What a summer vacay, let me tell you. Ah. I had so many ideas about that last scene. I can't wait to talk about them with you all. Let me say, to those of you that told me to wait until after episode 35 for the OP and ED, thank you. All the spoilers. All the spoilers. Spoilers everywhere. Shin Shin! The Dragon Pool Cabinet, I forgot about that. Oh. Wow. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, yes. Yes. We need to talk about this. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. If there is one thing, the only thing that I regret about Word of Honor, it's that the Wolong Nut Company was not given enough funds by the people of China to fund Word of Honor until its completion. That's kind of like, that's one of the main reasons I would love to read the novel, is that there were parts of this episode set that I'm like, I feel like stuff's being left out. I feel like there's more to the story. I feel like I need to read and find out what it is. So it's very difficult, right? Because you're like, you want to know. You want to know. So, what can we do? But yeah, all in all, there are parts that I want to talk about that I'm like, novel is going to be like the main thing. But I am actually, if these two become deity-esque immortals like Ye Bai Yi and are just stuck on a mountain together, secluded in an icy palace where they have to, engage in various sexual acts to keep warm, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. We'll see. We'll see how that goes in the novel, right? We'll see how that goes in the novel. But altogether, lots of things happening. I'm glad I got to see the OP and ED. So many spoilers. Up to episode 35. So yeah, that's just wild. 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 But yeah, so this episode, I don't know where in the budget they found a koi pond thing that they could put in the middle of the room to make it look neat, but I approve of it. I think it's nice. I like it. There is definitely some things that I would like expanded upon in the novel and that I'm hoping are expanded upon. The jump between Changling to Changling at the end where I love that he ends up like marrying Zhao Lian. What happened to Duan? Don't care about him. Screw him, apparently. F his drag. Changling just swooped in, got her, and they have a daughter, which is adorable. Love her. She was so cute. But I like he talks about Prince Jin, and Changling brings up, why don't we just get rid of him? And Zhou Jishu's like, okay, son, you don't know why we don't just do that. And then him and the Great Shaman and Lord Seventh had to break down basically what a power vacuum is. And if they just kill the prince of this entire region, things will collapse. Maybe Changling doesn't know any better because he's used to the Five Lakes Alliance where everything was split 5 ways, right? And his dad didn't have much to worry about. But here, Zhou Jishu's like, I can't just kill him. That would cause mass chaos. And Changling's like, do it. Changling's freaking Palpatine over here being like, do it. Just go ahead and kill him. But yeah, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Now that I know the prequel novel is about the Lord Seventh and there's a possibility of some smutty good time of him and Great Shaman, I'm not opposed to reading about it, but you're all going to have to decide. So at some point I want to read it for sure. So they talk about the rebellion and that there's no way to just kill, Prince Jin. Instead of killing Prince Jin, we're going to make it to where he's injured and suffers a long, painful, bedridden state instead of just killing him. And Changling's like, which is worse? And it's like, son, that's not how wars are won. What's interesting in this moment, though, is that the action that Zhou Jishu suggests, where they injure Prince Jin and leave him sick in bed, is essentially what happened with Zhao Jing and the Scorpion King. So it's funny we have that confrontation between Zhou Jishu and Scorpion King at the end, two characters who at the start of this series I thought could not be more different. And then come to find out, as we learn more about Prince Jin and Zhou Jishu's relationship, and we get more into the toxicity between Zhao Jing and the Scorpion King, it kind of becomes more apparent that no, they actually have quite a bit in common, which is interesting. So I thought that was kind of cool. But then poor Changling ends up being our Frodo Baggins, where he has been telling this story apparently the whole time. And at the end, he tells it to the Four Seasons manor. One area I wish that, or I hope the novel expands upon is, because when Keshing left Changling, Zhou Jishu had every intent on Changling and when Keshing developing the Four Seasons back. I'm gonna hope that the Great Shaman and Lord Seventh stuck around a little bit longer to make sure that Changling could get things in order. Maybe Shinshin moved in with them since he, I guess he has his own sect to worry about, but maybe Shinshin came over and helped since he has a stake in Zhao Lian, since that's Gao's daughter. Curious. I like the idea the Great Shaman and Lord Seventh look at each other and they're like, are we going to extend our vacation here? I guess. As long as we get a suite to ourselves, I guess. So I thought that was interesting. And so, yeah, there'll be no balance of power if we don't. I felt bad the Lord Seventh got, scolded by Changling, and Changling's like, I'm stupid and I don't understand, I don't want to understand. One thing, and I get that Changling is frustrated because of everything going on, he's potentially about to lose Zhou Jishu when Keshing's been injured. He's had to go through this whole thing with the Heroes Conference. I don't know, Changling gets a little bit, not childish, but he just gets really loud and aggressive in the last part of this story, whereas most of the time in the story, he's been really calm and chill and learning from when Keshing and Zhou Jishu and handling everything with this grace. And then in the last third of the story, he becomes a faux incel for a hot second. And you're like, what is happening? And then suddenly at the end of the story, he's like, and I got married and had a kid, and now I'm in charge of the Four Seasons. Da 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 da. And it's like, what? How do we get from point A to point C? So hopefully the novel gives us more Changling, because I felt, especially since episode 30, yeah, the last 6 or 7 episodes, we've needed more of that, right? But you kind of know where he's coming from, because he's worried about Zhou Jishu dying. He's like, what weight does my life hold? I raised this dangerous army. Once the battle begins, lives will be lost. Not only the regrets of the Four Mountains villas, but of those that are going to die in this battle. I did love that he had this hug with Changling. It was really, really somber and sweet. And Changling's actor does a good job of doing that little single solitary tear that slowly comes down. I felt really bad, and I still kind of feel bad because Changling's been left without Zhou Jishu at this point. He seems like he grew up being okay with it. But also, can we talk about... They must have had to do a replacement of Changling's adult actor at the last minute, because this series has had impeccable casting. The young to older versions, or the older versions, or the younger versions of the main characters, impeccable, so good. But that actor that played older Changling at the end, I could have swore he was the guy that made fun of Changling earlier on in the series. And I'm not saying that they look the same, but I'm just they kind of did. So I was like, this actor doesn't look anything like Changling, but he's supposed to be the older version of Changling? What? Their face shapes, their eyes, nothing was similar. And so it threw me off. So they must have had a last minute casting change, and they were just this is what we got. So It's fine. If you know the budget cuts, it makes sense. But when we first saw him with the Four Seasons Manor, I was like, who is this? And then it was Changling. And I was like, oh. And then when you hear the voice, it's the dub voice for Changling. And I was like, that voice does not match that face at all. And I didn't even think the dubbing was particularly good with his actor. So that's my one complaint about the movie is Changling's older actor. I was like, that must have been a last minute decision. But it's fine. But he's like, you have to remember this one saying. It's something my grandmaster taught me. And it's to, basically, he says, a chivalrous man lives for his country and his people. And then the tears just fall from Changling's face so perfectly. So perfectly. I really like Changling's actor, despite his characterization at the end. So then it's like Heaven and Earth from Lady Bai's poem Spring Evening Banquet with cousins at a peach plum garden. Heaven and earth are an inn for the myriad creatures of the universe, and time is its guest for centuries. Damn, that hug, oh, it's so sweet and so sad. And then there's the Lord Seventh, the great shaman, just sitting there like, do, 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 do. It was so sad. Like, I felt so sad for Jojishu because he's just convinced he's going to die and that's going to be it. And he's like, I'm so lucky to have known you. And it's just really heartbreaking. So he's like, we're from this. So then Lord Seventh, out of nowhere, says, oh, hey, by the way, since it's the 12th hour in the last episode, I thought I might, mention some armor ex machina that you might find interesting. So him and Prince Jin are related. They're from the same tribe, the Shah Tuo tribe, a Turkish tribe who helped the Tang dynasty fight off threats. Okay. He's like, our ancestors earned merit in calming the unrest. We were bestowed a surname and appointed as military commissioners and given land for ourselves. And that's how we were able to achieve this today. And he's like, but even further in the past, there was a branch of the clan that was subordinate of the Toji imperial kinsmen. So they're the ones that supposedly have this vault. There was a legend within the clan saying that when our ancestor waged war on the Central Plains, he left behind a treasure vault. And that hides the secret to a perpetually stable country. I honestly, at first, when this was first proposed, I was like, and when they started going through the vault and it was revealed that it was just grain and farm equipment, I was at first like, no. But then I really liked it because it's so funny to me that this entire story, there's like, I don't know if Priest as a writer is known for doing this, but I like the idea of the lesson that all these selfish people, there's two ways to look at it. On the one hand, it's hilarious that these people all did these selfish, horrible decisions that hurt a lot of people. And they were doing it to get inside this vault only to find out there's corn and an abacus and a plow. And that's what you got. It was basically like the Harvest Moon starter pack in here. And you're like, this is what you fought for. So there is like a hilarious irony with it that I really like. There is another part of me that was like, that's such a bitch move because people died and so much bad happened. And it was all because of a gossiping misunderstanding perpetuated over decades and generations within this clan. And that's like, da-da, like, it's wild. It's wild. But anyway, the Lord Seventh believes that there's a chance that Prince Jin is going to the Glazed Armory, not only to go inside and get like the Yin Yang book, but because there's supposedly this secret treasure inside. I don't know how I feel about the treasure vault with the 6 keys being revealed at the very last minute. I feel like, again, one, the novel probably expands upon it, but 2, you could have just, I don't know, as a writer, I don't know if you needed both to have it. You could have just had the Glazed Armory has inside of it the means to perpetually stabilize a kingdom, and you could have started with that from the very beginning, and that the audience would have believed, oh, well, there's like a bunch of weapons or there's secret techniques or something like that. And then you could have had the reveal of it was agriculture, bitch, because that does make the world go round. So I don't know if you needed to have them separated into two separate things for it to work. I think you could have wrote it as one thing and not gave this last minute 6 keys nonsense, which just ends up being a tie to the glazed armor and a way to make like one last detective pitch. But maybe in the novel, it's handled a little differently. And maybe they just did this because it was a last minute thing. So I don't know. But in any case, they set this up and they're like, maybe there's nothing in the vault. But they think Prince Jin is going to it regardless, which I think he would have gone to the glazed armory anyway. So Zhou Jishu's like, well, I'll go and stop him. So basically, this story is also a means to tie up how their Uncle Zhou died and why Prince Jin would kill him and what led to him and stuff. I'm like, you could have used the glazed armory as an excuse, but it doesn't matter. It ties all of that back up, which is fine. It's fine. I do like going back to the dragon pool. I don't remember him saying that they were critical to opening some Songmo, or Toji Imperial Kinsman Treasure Vault. Was that in the episode way back when and we just glossed over it? I guess it was. And I was like, wait, when did we get this? So it wasn't in the 12th hour. It was mentioned back in the Dragon Pool. But I'm also like, Lord Seventh, you picked a very highly convenient point to bring this out when you've been camping out for months. Like, you couldn't bring this out beforehand? And then you have Han Ying saying, in the prince's painting, the 5 pieces of glazed armor are there. And then they tie it all up. The former Prince Jin accused him of treachery. So this is just a way to tie up a loose thread, right? And Zhou Jishu's like, well, it makes sense. Everything's as it should be. Now, in the background, there's like this one point where a character, like you see like part of a character. I don't know if it was a plant or something, or if it's Ye Bai Yi, whatever it is. But they meet Zhou Jishu at the pass. They give him a horse that needs a bang cut, but that's okay. And I will say that this scene here where Zhou Jishu is like, what are you going to tell Wen Kexing? And Changling tries to like say the lie that Zhou Jishu went off to go get healed and he'll be back someday. I'm like, why do y'all lie to each other? Why? Why did y'all think that was a good idea? You know how it felt to be lied to when Kexing lied to you and planned the whole thing with Zhao Jing. So why would you go about and just lie to him? These bakas. It's fine. It works out. But it was just the whole time I was thinking, I was like, why are you lying? It's like the meme, why you running? Why you lying? He's gonna find out and he's gonna be pissed off. You two should know each other by now. They're like night and day. But poor Changling. Poor Changling. Also, just Zhou Jishu in the dark robes. Any color of blue, he looks amazing. So he's like, oh, I'll see him again in the netherworld. And it's like the ennui, the angst, all of this. So we get Prince Jin's army, led by the Scorpion King, to go up into the mountains. Now, am I surprised that Prince Jin did not go with the Scorpion King? No. So Prince Jin essentially lost like a large part of his army, I'm taking it, and then that was it, and he didn't get anything out of it. I guess so. But I find it hilarious that they drug Zhao Jing up there in the little carriage. At least he was drug up in the carriage. Wasn't strapped to a horse and just like slung side to side. He had a peaceful, comfy ride with his little blanket and everything. There is a part of me, as toxic and horrible as Zhao Jing was as a villain, is it weird that there's a part of me that feels kind of bad for him at the very end when he gets the avalanche ex machina like comes in and buries him alive? Because if you think about it, he really had no control over anything. That sucks. Also, the Scorpion King goes to the armory. Prince Jin is basically cut out of the story at this point, which I wonder if the novel has more, because I'm like, he's just cut out. We never hear from him again. No Prince Jin versus anybody. No Prince Jin versus anybody, unless it was cut out of the novel, so we'll see. But the Scorpion goes to the armory with Zhao Jing, and the two of them are just buried alive. I didn't want to see Jojishu like kill the Scorpion King. I never wanted to see that. I thought there was a chance that when Keshing might fight him throughout the story, just the way they were setting things up. But I anticipated some kind of battle at the end, which is not what we get at all. I guess the author's like, well, you just suffered through a red wedding, so wanted to spare you that. But they set up this battle, and then it just doesn't happen. Instead, they go up to the mountain, and the Scorpion King getting buried alive on the hill with Zhao Jing, I would never have called that in a million years. In a million years, would never have called that. I guess it's fine, but I felt bad. I wanted more for the Scorpion King at the very end. I wanted his ending to be better. So I don't know if the novel does anything different than that. We'll see. But I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so Jojishu gets up. They get up there at the top. Of course, when Keshing could follow them, they're all wearing black amidst white snow. You'd be easy to follow, but I guess they don't care. I'm not surprised the Scorpion King killed what's-his-face, Pengju. Although I thought that the whole time, or no, Jojishu killed him, not the Scorpion King. I thought the Scorpion King was going to kill him, but Jojishu ends up killing him. I guess he doesn't get buried alive by snow, so there's that. But yeah, I thought when they put the glazed armor and everything in, it was going to activate a trap because the dragon pool helped make this. And it was going to shoot the whole time. From the moment he put the glazed armor into the lock, and then the moment they were in the vault and inside the armory and nothing happened, I kept thinking like, oh, a trap's going to spring. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, something's going to happen. No! All hearsay. Not at all. Didn't happen. And that was that. But the moment Pengju put that in there, I thought it was going to spring a trap and kill him. But instead, and I thought the fact the Scorpion King was having him do it, I guess was a safety precaution just in case something did happen. We'll say, could open up that vault with the Phillips screwdriver, but that's all right. And then Jojishu just coming out of nowhere, looking amazing. And then he's like in assassin mode. And then an avalanche happens, and when Keshing saves him from the avalanche. I mean, not on my bingo card, could not have predicted it, so I'm here for it. And I liked the showdown between the Scorpion King and Jojishu. I just didn't ever see this happening and didn't anticipate the avalanche at all. The avalanche feels... I don't know how I feel about the avalanche, in all honesty. I get that there has to be something that keeps him inside, locked inside the armory, and that's fine. But I don't know. I feel like you could have done it maybe a different way. Like there's a door that opens, but if you break the key or something, it'll shut and lock forever or something, and something happens. I don't know. You have a transforming hairpin. You can do anything. So, I don't know. The avalanche just felt very convenient. Like, we're conveniently going to kill off these characters with the avalanche and conveniently lock our main characters inside and let them cultivate for themselves. But I do like the twist that the hairpin is the key. It felt kind of hokey at first just because of the CGI changing it. And I was like, oh. But thematically with the rest of the story, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense when Keshing's had the hairpin on him the entire time. His parents had transformation skills. That part makes sense. He was able to do that. I've got some phlegm in my throat. But it makes sense. And then he gave it to he gave it to Jojishu because he trusted him so much. That part all makes sense. The one thing that I wish would change was that I wish he would have grabbed Jojishu and flung him up to the door and then just got in there and pushed the key. The throwing it like a dart was kind of hokey. Maybe it's different in the novel. Maybe in the novel when they describe it, it looks really cool, but it felt kind of hokey in this. You know. But I like how when Keshing looks, I like they both going together. These two Bakas, love that for them. And then everybody gets killed in the avalanche. Somebody had to have lived to go back and tell Changling what happened, right? Or they all went and found it, right? And so he's like, what about your injuries? How are you able to be here? And he's like, to care about me Weren't we going to live and die together? I like both of them had this moment, like with Wind Caching, it was with Zhao Jing, and with Zhou Jishu, it was now with the Scorpion King, where they both were like, they were both motivated to go, thinking their partner was dead, to go like extract revenge. Or mainly it was Zhou Jishu. Mainly it was Zhou Jishu extracting revenge for his dead lover. And then come to find out, they're both fine for the moment. So I like that they both kind of look at each other like, yeah, we did do that, didn't we? He says, how could I find you without following them? He's like, I've known where this was. And he's like, yeah, the hairpin. He's like, would I bring the hairpin into danger with me? And he's like, so the armory's key was always on my head. Wouldn't we be at a loss for what to do if something happened? He's like, well, you came here to die, so you would definitely bring it. These two, you stupid bastard. If it wasn't for the old monster's loyalty. Okay, can we talk about the scene where Ye Bai comes in? Can we talk about that scene? He comes in and basically just shoves everybody out of the way. And he's like, bastard, what the hell have you all done? Stupid beyond belief. I just love that Changling, the great shaman and Lord Seventh, watch him like fling something away and they're like, okay. They're like, okay, sure. I guess we'll roll with this. Hilarious. So he gives them the meridians and they're like, oh, don't. They're like, he's like, what do you know? The great shaman's like, are you kidding me? He's like, you're harming him. And he's like, no, I know what I'm doing. They live and die together. As soon as Sir Wen knows that Lord Zhou cannot live, and he's like, oh, shut your mouth. Who can't live? I haven't died yet. I won't allow anyone to die first. There has to be something else with that, because when Keshing didn't die, even though Ye Bai was like, you're going to die if you use this ability, he didn't die. So something happened. The show, I don't think, expressively says what it is. So y'all better vote for me to read this novel. Y'all better vote for me to read this novel so we can find out what it is. But yeah, he's like, aren't you afraid of death? Am I afraid? So they both go into the armory and they look around. We don't exactly get to find out about exactly what Ye Bai told him until we get in. I do love all of the Dragon Pool cabinet things that they find. There's like a sundial. There's all this stuff there. And I like that Zhou Jishu's like, well, don't light a fire. The oxygen's limited. And he's like, well, we're both going to die. So and he's also like, also they trained in here with the door closed. So there has to be some ventilation. When Keshing knows. Also, I do appreciate the fact that Zhou Jishu points out the thing about the oxygen, because if Zhou Jishu didn't care to die, he wouldn't have said that. So that kind of alludes to the fact that he doesn't exactly want to die. He just doesn't think there's a choice at this point. Which is interesting, right? So yeah. So they start looking around in this, and then they figure out that it's all just... He's like, well, and they reminisce a little bit, and then they look around and realize that there's all these books and everything, but also mostly farm things. Yeah, the Yin Yang book, everything's right there. Whether or not this combined 6 cultivation method can heal my injuries. The snow has blocked the road and we don't have food or water. But when Keshing points out that Ye Bai was able to cultivate and stay up there for a long time. He just got to the point where he's basically immortal, and then it was only after he came down and started eating food they started gaining his mortality back. He's kind of like, he becomes like the snowman in the Campbell's Soup commercial, if you remember that from the 90s. There's like a snowman in the 90s, and he looks kind of creepy, but he comes in the house, and he sits down, and he starts eating the chicken noodle soup, and the snow starts melting around him, and then it turns out there's a kid underneath there. It's creepiest commercial. It's always stuck with me as a kid. I was like, ugh, feels unsettling. But basically, that explains a lot of why Ye Bai, the moment he came down, he was like just eating nonstop. Also, Ye Bai was kind of like Zhou Jishu, where he kind of had a death wish and just was ready to die because of what happened to his, soulmate and everything, and his protege. So I feel like Ye Bai gave Wen Keshing the power to transfer the 6 cultivation methods to Zhou Jishu to save him. And at the fact that both of them, I want to know how he didn't die. I'm hoping the novel tells us that. But I feel like it all worked out in the end, because Ye Bai Yi was all by himself on the mountain. His soulmate had died and he was all alone. And so he didn't feel like living anymore. But now these two that are mortals, they never have to come down. They can stay stuck in their little Elsa frozen sanctuary where people come to them. And when they're not in the middle of gay sex, they'll maybe teach them. We're going to talk about that scene. We're going to talk about that scene, but we're not ready to talk about that scene. Oh my God, that was the most hilarious thing in the world. But yes, they realize that all that's here is like different farming methods. Cultivation and farming methods. That's literally it. And I kind of like that. I kind of like how simple it is. It's like this was mainly just food and stuff for the people. I'm amazed too when they got the 6 cultivation methods thing out that there wasn't a trap or anything. I'm in shock. Maybe they ran out of budget. There was no... The moment he was like, it's this one, and held it up, I thought he was going to get, like, decapitated. Like, in that moment! I thought a trap was going to spring. He was going to get, like, impaled. I thought something bad was going to happen. No. They just get it. And they're like, we'll do this now. Why do all the secret rooms? There's not a single one that has any of the weapons in it. Yep. And then they all figure out what it is. Jojishu's like, I get it. This is the secret to an ever-protected country. As long as they found the secret to agriculture and how to farm, they wouldn't have any worries. I love it. I love how simple it is, and also it's kind of clever, and it's not what you expected to find in the armory. I was expecting, during the reaction, for it to be like Heaven Official's Blessing. I was expecting that kind of armory. That is not what we got. Or like the Untamed. That is not what we got. But this was kind of clever. I thought it was interesting. And when Keshing's like, well, that's great. He's like, so we're not going to go hungry while we're here. My father understood Prince Jin's temperament. And that all adds up too. Because in the end, if you think about it, you're like, okay, Prince Jin would probably not believe that in this secret armory, there's a bunch of farm equipment. He's probably not going to buy that. So by the very end, he's like, honestly, if he didn't tell the truth, you're probably going to get killed. And even if you did, you're probably going to get killed either way. So, but yeah. So anyway, they're like, he says, changing your fate requires payment. By mastering godly arts, you can naturally recreate your meridians. But when Keshing says to retain a young appearance and live like a god. However, there are cons to this as well. Ye Bai Yi stayed on Changming Mountain for as long without leaving because once you step into the world of the gods, one must forever live in a place of extreme cold. I kind of like that. I like the subversion because a lot of times in Danmai, at least what I've read, they want to live their cottagecore life in the woods. And here it's like this seclusion in the cold tundra where only your body heat will be able to keep you warm in the middle of the night. So, yeah. From then on, one lives in the wild and feeds on ice and snow. If you eat the food of humans, then you'll start to decay from within. Mm-hmm. And that's why, Jojishu's like, where his hair is getting whiter. And he's like, yep, that's because he's, reversing back from being a god to being one of the mortals again. The old monster had enough of being a living dead. So then you see like the way that the body, how the meridians work and everything. And Jojishu's like, okay, he's been eating as much stuff as he can. Even if he doesn't want to live forever, he still wants to recklessly eat as much as he can. And so, yeah. And so Jojishu, I love that this moment where Jojishu is looking at the pamphlet and he's like all excited because he's like, okay, we'll do this. He's like, I don't care. You and I will cultivate together. We'll live on this mountain and be deities together and be immortals. It'll be great. And I won't have to die. And there's a moment where he's looking at the manual and when Keshing looks over at him, like, I'm going to sacrifice my life for this guy, which is great. But at the same time, I'm like, don't you both realize the whole story has been about how both of you are a wreck if one of you is gone? I know you want to save his life because you know that you'll be a wreck without him, but what do you think Jojishu's going to be like? You said that those who live suffer. So I feel like they cut something out of from the novel in this, but even if we leave this place alive, Well, in the future, we'll have to live secluded in an extremely cold place. Which Joshishu's like, joke's on you. I am used to the window of heaven in our Arctic environment, so I'm totally down with that. Eating snow and living with no end. And I like that for a second. I like Joshishu's eyebrow raises for a second, like, oh, we're stuck in a secluded castle all to our own with no kids and eating ice cream all day and doing nothing but probably having hot sex and cultivating. Gee willikers, that's going to be hard. As hard as the stone cold columns of this ice palace. And he's like, we could probably do that. It's fine. Either live like that or just die. I mean, he's like, we can both do that together. He's like, I'll have to compare them. I like that he's like, we'll have to just try them both out and see which one works. Love it. So I like that they sit on the dial. They sit on the little dial there. I like that you had like their robes spread out behind them. It requires breakage and then reestablishment. We have to endure a hellish suffering before recreating our meridians and obtaining a new life. But everyone's health situation is different and the suffering is different. The two of us need to practice this art at the same time and support each other. And when your partner's near the point of breaking, we have to use pure chi energy to aid the other through their difficult time. And Joshishu's like, well, then don't I have a huge advantage? I was hook, line, and sinker. I was like, okay, nope, they're going to cultivate together, and then they're going to end up like both becoming immortals together. I did not adhere to the fact that when Keshing had lied to him, and they was going to basically use his life force to save him. I did not even think about that. I was like, oh, but then I want to know how he didn't die. I don't think they tell us unless I missed it and we're going to go back through there. He's like, my senses of taste, smell, and touch have slowly disappeared. Which is so sad. He's like, I can't feel pain anymore. And when Keshing's like, that's why Elder Ye and Great Shaman gave an extra warning, saying right after we begin meditating, there's a high chance your sight and hearing will also disappear. But don't be alarmed if that happens. Just focus on the chi energy running through your body, and then all the senses will naturally return. Which makes sense. You're breaking everything down before, building it back up again. He's like, let's start. So they start, and then it's all going well. And we get our little, I liked that we got the song and everything. And in that moment of us getting the song, that you started to hear the sound go out as his hearing was going out. I don't know what the deal is with the illustration, because in the illustration, the guy, it looks like he's like holding the sash to his robe. What is happening in that? Maybe it's showing him like shedding his body and rebuilding it. It almost looked kind of pornographic, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. So I don't know. But yeah, and they're in the midst of all that. And when Keshing tests to see if he can hear him, he's like, do you believe? He's like, you're the commander of the window of heaven. Why do you believe everything I say? That line. Oh my God, that line just got me. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And then his hair starts to turn white. I was like, oh, Gong Jun can pull off the white hair. Sometimes I've seen actors try to wear the white wig and it looks too fake and it doesn't work. He looks good in the white hair. He pulls it off. He looks great. I think he looks awesome about it, but, and they put enough black in with it and blonde in with it that it doesn't go completely white. It's like got some gray mixed in. It's a really good wig. It's a really good wig. But yeah. Want to point out that hair went white, but that skin stayed flawless. Flawless, y'all. That complexion went nowhere. And of course, can we talk about the moment he said Aju? He says Aju when we flash back to him and Ye Bai Yi, and Ye Bai Yi is just like, Ye Bai Yi's like, oh God, you two are still in love. Is that it? Oh, fine. He's like, fine. You guys love each other. I'll save you, I guess. He's like, he's about to die. And of course, when Keshing's like, excuse me? He's like, what's wrong with him? And he's like, Bub. He's like, I have a way to save him, but it'll cost you your life. Are you willing? He was born willing. Yeah. And then Yebai's like, okay, cool, great, good answer. I said I was going to kill you, and now I technically get to do. I'm not going to be a liar. Yay, Boomer Yebai. Good answer. And so he says, I promised you I would save Jojishu, and I have never failed anyone in my whole life. He's like, I'm going to give you my power. Oh! Oh! And him saying he's sorry? Weren't you also set on lying to me? I mean, they both were. These two Bakas were both lying to each other. Oh my gosh. It's just not a huge sin lying to you this once. The one left behind suffers the most. But he's like, you're my senior brother, so let me do this. But I'm like, you're not getting left behind. So you're not going to be the one that suffers the most. It's going to be Jojishu. And I love the idea of us flashing back to Jojishu telling him he's insane. And it's like, yes. But also with the soulmates that died and him digging the grave. Although I'm like, why would you want to die after digging the grave? Mm-hmm. And then all the moments with them together. Shut up, montage. How dare you? Yeah, I mean, this is all about traveling with your soulmate. Now you're going to, like, leave it? Ugh. And then, like, as he's crying, Gongjun's so good at that face. Oh, this pretty crier. And he, like, transfers it over to him. It's not something a human body can bear. Someone must be willing to sacrifice themselves as a furnace to practice the pure chi and return it to the practitioner, in order to establish upon breakage and jump out of the cycle of life and death. However, this person's meridians will be ruined and his hair will turn white overnight. Someone once sacrificed himself, forcing me to live with this immortal curse for so many years. So, and in the end, it was all for this day. So someone sacrificed themselves for Yebai and Changming up on the mountain. And he's now returning the favor. But somehow Winkeshing doesn't die. But I don't think they explain how he doesn't end up dying. Like, did Jojishu sacrifice from as well, and the double sacrifice cancel each other out? Like, how does that work? And of course on a mountain with like two peaks pointing next to each other. How dare you? How dare you? So yeah. And then Jojishu wakes up and sees him that way. And he starts to fall. But Jojishu grabs his hands and holds them. So the question is, how does he keep living? How does that work? The novel better give us some damn answers. Because we don't see him wake up in this moment. Well, his eyes start to twitch. And his hand starts to flop again. But he manages to hold on. So we don't get to see him wake up. So the novel better give me some answers, damn it. It better give me some answers, damn it. Then we see at the four seasons, we get Changling. I guess it kind of looks like him, but no. So I guess on the one side, Malicious and Pretty Arnett, they don't die. We just never see them again. That's weird. Considering the massive female genocide that occurred in the last episode, I guess we should be happy about that. Considering 3 women, which is the majority of the female cast, died within the last episode. So yeah, so Changling's talking about all this and explaining it. I feel like, what happened to the 2 brothers trapped in the armory? What happened to them? Did they die? If one wants to master this outstanding art, someone must be willing to sacrifice their own body as the furnace, to return the pure chi to the practitioner. No matter how highly skilled in martial arts you are, even if you don't die immediately, all your meridians will be destroyed in the end. Okay, so even if you don't die immediately, your meridians are destroyed. So, basically, is that saying that Winkeshing wouldn't be able to practice cultivation anymore? He'd just be stuck on top. But he was fighting with Jojishu in the end, so I want to know how that ends up working out. So did they master it? The cultivation method. And then we don't get an answer because Changling comes over and then his daughter's adorable with her little moon boots and her name is Nyan Chong. Just shut up. Guzhong, Nyan Chong. Oh, so cute. And then we see, like, Zhao Lian looks amazing. She looks gorgeous. I love her robes, her hair, everything about her. Such a queen. Looks great. Yeah, she's like, don't speak of this nonsense all day. Like, I guess I kind of see it in that moment, but God, their child is so cute. She's so adorable. Also, that means that Grandpa Gao Chong doesn't get to see his little granddaughter. That's so sad. Ah, that's so sad. But they're so cute. Oh, Zhao Lian looks gorgeous. This is the best she's looked the entire time. Oh, the baby's so cute. Yep, they won't have the heart to practice martial arts if they hear too much. So I like this. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 new little disciples there. I love that. And then they all just walk off. That's so cute. So then we have the other episode. The other episode, which is mostly a montage, which I'm not, you know what? We've been through so much with these characters. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the recap. The point is we have to get to the new scene on the mountain. Okay, listen. Listen to me, y'all. When we go to this shot of this little kid practicing on the mountain, I want you to hear me out. And you're going to think that I am freaking crazy. But hear me out. When that kid showed up on the mountain, I, for a hot second, was like, how did we get Omegaverse past the Chinese government? I know that the censors have been on vacation this entire series. I know they've taken up residence on their Caribbean cruise and they're not coming back. But I was like, there's only so much you can fool a censor with. And I was like, when did they birth a child? When did they have a kid? How was this possible? Did the 6 cultivation methods allow you to learn impreg? Did that happen? No. He's someone else's kid that has tried to show him your moves, show his skills with the hope of getting trained by the 2 immortals, Wen Kexing and Zhou Jishu. Which I love. He's doing the cloud steps, which is amazing. I love that. It looks like the cloud steps. The thing that gets me is I understand the concept of people bringing their children to the snowy avalanche mountain to learn from Wen Kexing and Zhou Jishu. I get that. That makes sense. What gets me is that the dad coming out of nowhere and he's like, they're just gonna sky dance their way over back to the cave. We're gonna go home, son, and have dinner. He's like, in 3 days? Yes, in 3 days, son. Because I don't think they're near any civilization. So, oh my God. That was just amazing. And yeah, he looks up to Zhou Jishu and he's like, teach me, elder. Elder, right? And Zhou Jishu, back in my day, when my disciple was your age, he was far worse than you. The only skill that can be approved is that you're hesitant in drawing your sword. Which, granted, this kid was amazing. So yeah, he ain't got a lot to be taught. Also, Zhou Jishu in all white for the first time in all white. And then with the white, and then with the hairpin from Wen Kexing in his hair. Stop it. Just stop it, y'all. Just stop it. You're still inexperienced in battle. The sword is the ruler of all weapons. It must uphold righteousness and be unwavering in order to overrun all obstacles. And this kid is like, ah. And he's like, that won't work. And then we see him, who's in the white with the blue over it, the Zhou Jishu blue, and the white hair being the opposite of a ghost chief. But I love it that he's talking about, like, Zhou Jishu's talking about the righteous, like, moral way of using the sword, and when Kexing's like, no, with a weapon must walk the ghostly path. And he's going to be like, like a stealthy ghost. And his movements have to be unpredictable. Uh-huh. I love they both disagree because of course they do. And then Wen Kexing with the side bang, with the light blonde side bang, shut up. Shut up. I'm here for it. I live for it. I love it. These two. And then they start fighting. And then the choreographers are like, do you want to do one more gay romp in the sky? And they're like, yes, we do. Yes, we do. To dance in the moonlight like a bunch of sky dancers. Let's go, bitch. And so they do. Oh, I love it. We can't show these two kissing, but we can show these two that are perfectly contrasting each other to like go up in the air. And the smirk from Gong Joon is when kissing. Oh my God, the smirk. I could obsess over the way they look at each other in this scene. I could obsess over it all day. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And them just flying through the sky, just flying through the air, just flying because they're like at the highest peak of cultivation at this point. And the dad's like, let's just leave the two Jesuses alone, son. And come back another day. Let's go home and eat. And the kid's like, I guess. Oh, he says, Mother said I practiced very well. He's like, it's not your fault. They're both exuberantly gay and into each other right now. They've just fought their whole lives. When two gods... Oh, that's the thing. Wow. Okay. So we went straight from episode 36 to now. We don't know how long has passed from episode 36 to this point. It could have been centuries. We don't know. But they're still together. But this line here, where he's like, those two have fought their whole lives. When two gods fight, who knows when it'll end? For some reason, I was thinking of like Double Dragon. I was thinking of like two dragons next to each other is what I was thinking of. But shut up. Shut up, these two. He's like, we're going to go home and find your mom. He's like, okay. And then they just leave them sky dancing and fighting back and forth. I just love the look between the dad and his kid like, that checks out. Like, Love it. Love it. I love how accepting we've become in our formidable years. And then after they fought on the cliffside, they went back into the cave and had a marathon of intimacy. Just the sunlight shining on them, tying back to the very beginning where you had Win Keshing as the ghost in the shadows, and you had Jo Jisoo as the beggar that just wanted to soak in the sunlight alone, and now you see both of them and their immortals together. Yes! You know that there has to be more to it that the novel didn't get to touch on, and maybe spiciness. Hopefully spiciness. But then we had like our little montage at the very end. Oh, I love that. I wanted them to have a happy ever after as soulmates. And even if they have to spend it as immortals, I'm happy with that. I want to read the fan fiction now, but I don't know if I can, if I need to wait until after I read the novel. Sad days. The woes. What a privileged struggle. Anyway, I was very happy with the end result for Jo Jisoo and Win Keshing. I was really happy about that. There's lots of things that I feel have been not expanded upon like they probably are in the novel. So I want to know more about that. But I guess we'll see. So if you are on Patreon watching this the week before it comes out on YouTube, you can vote on whether I read the novel or not in terms of a reaction. But otherwise, we're going to take next week off. We're going to cleanse. I'm going to go on on vacation. I need a vacation because I can't find the word bubble. So we're going to go on vacation, have some Heaven Officials blessing that's much needed for that Monday off. And then we're going to come back and finish up October with a two-parter of all the extras, including some crazy concert that y'all want me to listen to. So anyway, I'm super excited. I hope you all are as well. But I hope you all have an amazing week. Thank you for joining me for Word of Honor. We're not done yet, so I'm not going to give all my thanks until the end of the extras. But stick around for those in a couple weeks. And I'm super excited to hear your thoughts down below. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more reactions. Bye!